Welcome back to your weekly roundup of everything that happened in Zenless Zone Zero, where we will cover everything that you missed inside and outside of the game. This week there is a lot to look forward to because it is of course patch week, with patch 3.1 alongside REMIELLE and the summer events, and of course all of the anniversary freebies along the way. Starting with the in-game news though, of course, as mentioned, this Wednesday or Tuesday night depending on where you are in the world, is the launch of version 3.1. So in the lead up to this though, you can pre-download the files for the patch so that you can jump straight into the game as soon as possible when the patch does go live. On Wednesday though, or again Tuesday the 29th, once the patch is here, you'll be able to pull in the new banner for REMIELLE or the rerun banner for Aria if you are still looking for her too. As a reminder, if and or when you do complete the 3 Angels of Delusion, you will be able to claim those special rewards such as the special wallpaper and everything else. Alongside the new banners though, of course, will be the new main story chapter, The Long Goodbye, and we can also expect a handful of events to start taking place right with the launch of patch 2, mainly the summer event, which as a reminder is how you'll be able to get the free A-rank Lucy skin. Then this patch also marks the 2nd anniversary of the game, with which there are lots of other things to look forward to. Firstly are the potential unlocks for Nekomata, Rina and Jane, and speaking of Jane, don't forget that as part of the anniversary rewards, we will be able to select a free S-rank agent as well as their signature engine. You'll have a selection from Jane alongside Lucia, Hugo, Trigger and Soldier Anby. Odds are though that Jane is going to be the go-to pick for most people, even if you already have a single copy of her already. Because of her potential unlock and her synergy with the most recent agents like Lena and now REMIELLE too, Jane stonks are going to be shooting up a lot in this patch. Who would have thought? Pick the anomaly agent in the lineup of agents. It never fails apparently. But alongside the free selectors, there will also be some polychrome gifts being distributed, so be sure to check your mailbox for those as well. This week we'll also introduce the new weekly things. Firstly will be the new Notorious Hunt Boss, which will drop the materials needed for REMIELLE, so maybe hold on to your 3 weekly hits for now and do them once the patch drops. Speaking of though, the new patch will also introduce an alternative to Holo Zero in the new Operation Bagel extraction mode. So similar to Notorious Hunt, you might want to wait to do your weekly Holo Zero run, as doing Operation Bagel will also work towards that 8,000 point threshold that you need to do every week. And also, you'll want to do Operation Bagel too, as this will be how you can acquire the last few mindscapes and the engine upgrades for Pyrois. Otherwise, later in the week on Friday, it'll be, once again as always, the regularly scheduled Deadly Assault reset. But this time around though, as part of the new patch, it'll also include the harder adversity mode, for if you clear the base stages with 9 stars. If you do this, you'll face a tougher boss in the adversity mode, and if you beat it, you'll get some flair for your profile like a title and an icon. And most importantly, you'll get the bragging rights. Don't worry though if you can't do this, as the adversity mode is purely optional and it doesn't reward any polychrome like that, so you're not losing out if you don't participate. And lastly, a friendly reminder that it is nearing the end of the month, so be sure to buy out the discounted rolls from the Signal Shop as well as anything else that you might need from Scott Outpost. And one other thing to keep an eye out for is the Film Goer spending event starting in patch 3.1, where if you make any in-game purchases with real money during patch 3.1, you can earn progress towards unlocking some in-game items as well as a selector for Vivian, Astra or Seed alongside their engines. And if you are planning on spending during patch 3.1, why not try using U7Buy? A fast, safe and affordable place to purchase top-ups for a bunch of different games, including of course Zenless Zone Zero. And there's no need to worry about the reliability. As you can see by the reviews of U7Buy over on Trustpilot, they are highly rated. U7Buy's Zenless Zone Zero top-up page lets you recharge instantly for a fraction of the price. You'll see the prices look similar to in-game at first, but once you hit buy now, the price drops at checkout to the actual discounted amount. You're paying less without even realizing it at first. And the process is simple. Just select your server, enter your UID, complete the payment, and the monochrome will be sent directly to your account in seconds. No other account information necessary. And if you want to save even more, you can also use my discount code Shanaha for another 8% off your purchase. So click the link in the description below and head on over to U7Buy and start saving today. Moving on to the social media side of things, firstly we have 2 birthdays this past week, one for Norma and another for Banyue. So happy birthday to them as well as anybody else who has a birthday in the coming week. Otherwise, leading up to REMIELLE and patch 3.1's release, we've got some free stickers and wallpapers that were featured in the first generation Void Hunter online page. If you want to download these, be sure to check the link in the description down below. There's also been plenty of promotional videos being released for REMIELLE, but for her short film specifically, there's also a Twitter event happening right now where you could stand a chance to win an Anby figure or an acrylic calendar stand. All you have to do is follow the official Zenless Zone Zero Twitter account and repost the tweet linked in the description below with the hashtag REMIELLE. And then for anyone in Germany, Operation Yum is starting things off with a special pop-up event in Berlin from the 29th of July until the 13th of August. You'll not only be able to order some special dishes, but you can also get some exclusive collaboration items as well as some in-game redeemable items too. And then lastly, moving on to the speculation zone. If you've been watching the REMIELLE promotional videos, which I highly recommend you do, there's been quite a lot of stuff teased. Obviously there was the fight scene with Sunbringer, but in the short animation Day of Silence, we've gotten one of our first teasers for Colonel Vike in the video. Not only that, but we have her speaking as seen in the credit for her voice actor too. The explicit showcase of Colonel Vike now does mean that the leader of the Falkenhayn mercenary group is the big guy from that initial shot showing all three of them in that initial trailer. Since originally it wasn't explicitly stated who was who, but now we know who each of them are. And a voice actor being assigned already for Colonel Vike could mean that it's possible we see Colonel Vike sooner rather than later in game. Speaking of upcoming agents though, we've already got some tidbits of what to expect in patch 3.2. As expected based on her appearance in the upcoming story, as well as a disc set resembling her color scheme, one of the banner agents coming in patch 3.2 is expected to be CLARET, with the other one supposedly being ROXY. With no other information about other agents, this means that they are both likely going to be S ranks, with no other A rank alongside them. Notably though, there's also mention of buffs for an older character in KOLEDA, which honestly is kind of funny. It's like just after CLARET is coming out as a red-colored schemed character with twin tails, and we also just got a recent fire stunner in Norma. Now all of a sudden KOLEDA is here trying to bust through and trying her best not to get replaced or something like that, which is kind of cute when you consider KOLEDA's personality. Now, it's not entirely certain what or how exactly KOLEDA will be buffed, but I wouldn't be surprised if the intent is to possibly have her work alongside CLARET too. Kinda like how Jane has been buffed to potentially work alongside Velina and REMIELLE. And lastly, something found in the game code for patch 3.2 is a brand new type of damage labeled as sharp critical damage. Obviously, there's no indication of what the sharp critical damage is or how it is triggered, but since this is being added as opposed to, changing the original name of something else, it's pretty possible that we are going to likely be able to get sharp critical damage on top of everything else already in the game. Kind of similar to how, if you remember, we had a bloom as the sort of go-to keyword for any anomaly damage dealt from off-field, but then all of a sudden we got polarized as well, which, as far as I know, is kind of like the same thing, just with a different word for whatever reason. But if you've played other games like, say, Final Fantasy XIV, you might see this as another way to get like a direct critical hit or something. Maybe this is going to be a new agent-specific mechanic or a general-purpose mechanic. Only time will tell. Personally, I'm kind of hoping that this is a general mechanic that everyone can use. I don't want another new agent that has some game-defining thing tied to only themselves. Right now, we've just got Velina, who is our only wind user at the moment, and then REMIELLE, who is the only lumen user, and all of those other shenanigans. So hopefully, it's just something like having over 100% crit rate, where every attack becomes a crit, makes you have the excess, have a chance to, have your crit, an over crit if you will, that anyone can take advantage of. As opposed to, like I said, something that only one agent can use, and then if they're not popular, it's never brought up again. Like, for example, polarizing, which had to get a whole different keyword over a bloom. Or Aftershock, which, to be fair, Aftershock is used a lot, but like, is it really used a lot? But time will tell though. Who knows, maybe the whole CLARET thing will be the one to use this sharp critical damage. After all, the disc set that is meant to be for CLARET does provide crit boosts, so maybe they're looking into crit stuff. And maybe they're trying to finally work away from anomaly damage and bring it back over to attack focused stuff. Maybe that's what the crit is for. But again, time will tell. But otherwise, that is everything happening this week. If you made it to the end of the video, then leaving a like as well as commenting and subscribing is greatly appreciated. And because I know everyone is going to be pulling for her, and I don't even need to ask, instead, I will wish you all luck on your REMIELLE pulls. But until next time, bye bye.